Welcome back to the Print on Demand cast. In this episode, we're going to talk about the easiest way to expand your print on demand business. Let's get into it.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
What's up, pod pals? Welcome back to the Print on Demand cast. We're so happy to have you here with us for another exciting, entertainment-packed, education-filled, dad joke-ridden episode of the Print on Demand cast. Joining me, as always, Travis Ross from Make Your Mark Design. Travis, happy recording day. How about that? It's ambiguous. No one knows when that is.
No one who has ever listened to our podcast in the past where we tell you how many days before it's released knows. Yeah.
No, for all you know, we could have recorded this before Orlando. You guys have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah, we did. Not.
No, we got the duck in Orlando, actually. So yeah, he's a now permanent set piece. Shout out to, StreamYard, because that's what we used to record this. Anyway, how's your day? What's going on in the world of Make Your Mark Design? What's new? What's happening before we get into, all the nitty gritty?
Sure. Lots of meetings today. Had meetings with all my VAs, did the one-on-ones, and got all of us on the same page with a bunch of stuff we're doing. And then had another meeting with another person. One of my clients actually had to cancel last minute for a coaching thing that I was doing with him. So he had to reschedule that, but that gave me a lot more time in the afternoon. So I was actually was asked to write an article for the Apparelist website. And so I knocked that out today. I was pretty proud of myself because it's like 1,000 words. It's a lot of writing and, just thinking through it and all that. But yeah, then I went and picked up my daughter from school, came back here, and now we're recording the podcast. How about you? How was your not descript, not named day of the week?
My vague day that ends in Y. Well, I'll tell you, lots of meetings for me too. Tuesday is always like for my day job, just the 5.5 hour Zoom call or Google Meet call. And then I'm training my current replacement who will be taking my position when I transition out of that spot next week, which I realize now that I'm saying it in person to you in front of everyone that's listening.
In front of everyone.
So
what you're saying is that you're going to
pivot. Yeah, that's right. Kind of. I mean, it's still the same industry, but I will be leaving my current day job, which is basically recruitment and kind of HR. So the gal that I'm training, she has lots of experience in it. So I met with her yesterday at the office in Lakewood, and she was like, "Yeah, I know how to do all of this." I'm like, "Well, sweet. I don't know why I'm here for another week, but have a great time." I mean, that was pretty much how I felt about the whole thing. But so yeah, lots of meetings, lots of interviews, and now here we are recording another episode of the Print on Demand cast. And so why don't we get into it right away? There's lots of stuff that we're going to cover. A really awesome point of interest that is, I think it's obviously it's interesting, but it's an interesting development in terms of platform options and availability. And then, of course, in the main event, stay tuned because we're going to get into the easiest way to expand your print on demand business, and you're not going to want to miss that either. But before we get there, it's everyone's favorite time. It's the weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
All right, who's delivering this?
I don't know.
Me, you.
I kind of want to, but I mean,
do it. No, you do it, or you can. Yeah, you do it. You're fine.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, a thief in Paris planned to steal some paintings from the Louvre, which, if you know anything about the Louvre, they got their security pretty locked down. So after careful planning, he actually got past security, stole the paintings, and he made it safely to his van. However, he was captured only 2 blocks away when his van ran out of gas. When asked how he could mastermind such a crime and then make such an obvious error, he replied, "Monsieur, that is the reason I stole the paintings. I had no money to buy the gas to make the Van Gogh."
It's a
Yep.
It's a culture dad joke. You gotta know.
We just isolated every single French listener, right, with that joke. So we apologize,
and
France.
people who aren't familiar with French Renaissance painters and the like. I've never been to Louvre. I went to an art museum in Sweden, though. I saw an original Van Gogh, and it was a painting. So I don't really. I mean, I like, obviously don't have a whole lot of appreciation for I know it's obviously a skill. I don't know what goes into it, so I can't be like, wow, look at the breast strokes on the, I don't know why I'm doing it now. So anyway, that is this week's weekly dad joke, and we're gonna head right into this week's point of interest.
Well, howdy, partner. Welcome to the point of interest part of the POD cast. So grab your hat and hold on tight, because we got some learning to do.
All right. Take out my headphone for that last part, because my God. So this week's point of interest is it was shared by one of our Facebook group members, or pod pals, I guess. That's what you all are, is print on demand pals. It was shared by one of you, and it's very. I'm curious about this, Travis. It is Makerplace, not Marketplace. Makerplace, presented by Michaels, and you're thinking, Michaels, like Jackson? No. Like Jordan? Also no. Like the craft store? That would be the one. It was probably your last guess too, but it's here. Makerplace by Michaels. And if you're watching on video over on YouTube or printondemancast.com/YouTube, you can see the screen share here. So Travis, man, tell us about Makerplace. What's going on here?
It's cool. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it could have some print on demand. People that are doing print on demand could potentially get onto this platform, but it's a new platform that Michael's put out. It not only allows you to sell your handmade items, which is obviously where print on demand could potentially come into play. If you're doing them at your house, or, if you're actually making these, then technically they're handmade. You could even argue that even though you aren't making them and you have a vendor making them, they're still handmade. So that could be another place to expand. But you can also sell seats, basically, or subscriptions, I guess, to live online classes. And you can make money from that. And you can share how-tos with, you could make a list of all the things that you need to make this one, handmade item or whatever. And all of those are going to be affiliate links to Michael's, and so you can earn a commission on those supply lists. It's really, really kind of cool. They've got on this page, you can see it right there. They've got the whole thing kind of broken down as far as like the fees, and there's two different tiers. There's a basic and a professional tier. The basic's free to get started. You pay a 4% referral fee on anything that you sell, whereas a professional, you're paying a little bit more, but you have a smaller referral fee. So you just got to do the math on that, but you can make, you can make a class, you could put it on there. You could show someone how to sublimate a coffee mug and allow people to buy, that subscription or that class and learn how to do that. And then you get rewards. So maybe you're teaching them how to do something with like a Cricut, sublimated coffee, or a mug maker. And maybe, I don't know this for a fact, but maybe Michael sells it. So when you made the class or the teaching that shows how to do that, and you tag that little, the Cricut in your video or in your marketing materials, you'll get a commission on that. So I don't know if anybody's going to be interested in that part of it, but there's also the listing part.
Right. Yeah. So the listing part, you can see here, I'll add this back on to the stage if you're watching there, printondemancast.com/YouTube. There's a basic and a professional. It looks like you get a free 6-month trial with a professional when you sign up. But so basic obviously is free. and the professional is going to be $9.98 a month, $10 a month, or $110 a year. And the difference, of course, if you're on the free plan, then your referral rate is going to be 4%. If you're on the professional, it's going to be 2%. And then they've got transaction fees, which is 3% plus 20 cents. So, low fees, really, when you think about it, comparatively to, like an Amazon or a Walmart. I mean, it's a little bit kind of on par with an Etsy fee that they charge as well. And then again, you can do commissions through the how-tos and classes that Travis was talking about, 6% commission there, 6% on Michael's purchases. This is if you have the premium or the paid plan. And then a class registration revenue split. So you get 80% and they get 20%. So that's a pretty good split. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So yeah. And then of course you got free product listings, class listing limits, unlimited if you're paid. How to list limit is unlimited if you're paid. So lots of interesting opportunities. I think probably the most part that I'm the most curious about is leveraging that how-to piece of it. If it is how to supplement a mug, if it is having what can you teach that in a print on demand kind of specific niche on this particular platform that would be relevant that people want to know, whether it is a Cricut, like you said, or heat press transfers or what have you. So yeah, interesting. It's an interesting foray into the e-commerce space by Michael's kind of the, I guess, merchant side of things, allowing people to sell on a platform.
Yeah. I mean, and like I was saying, you actually, I believe you can list products on this thing. So right. I don't know exactly how it all works. I have not signed up for it myself. But right there at the bottom of that page, there's a join now. And you can imagine that, since they're new, they're probably going to just open the floodgates and let anybody join. So if you want to check it out, we'll put this link in our show notes, and you can do yourself a favor and go sign up, and then you can tell us how it worked, how it worked out.
Yeah. Let us know what you thought of it. Because it might be the new Wild West. Who knows what's going to happen or be allowed until it's not over there. But yeah, I'm interested. If anyone does sign up for it, let us know. Let us know how it goes. You can contact us. You can reply to the weekly email that we send out. You can reply and let us know if this is something that you have done or are going to do. Let us know. We would love to be able to interact with you and learn more about this platform as well. So with that being said, we're going to transition to this week's main event. But before we do that, we have a little bit of an ad from one of our sponsors.
In a world where businesses everywhere are trying to make print-on-demand sales, one podcast goes above and beyond every week to bring the most POD-specific information there is, all to help save the day every day. Don't succumb to the enemies of your print-on-demand business. Sign up today for the Print on Demand Cast VIP email at printondemandcast.com/VIP. This time, it's for real.
Hey, sorry for the interruption, but we wanted to let you know that this week's episode is brought to you by Spotify for Podcasters. Really cool app. Josiah and I use it for every single show that we bring to you every week. You can edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so you can start creating as soon as you log into the platform. You can easily distribute your podcasts to Spotify and everywhere else the podcasts are heard, just like we do every single week. You can also create video podcasts on Spotify, which is really cool. And of course, you can earn money like I'm doing right now by including ads and even podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. There's no catch. We really love it. We use it every single week. So we encourage you to go download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. All right, let's get back to the show.
All right, Travis, this week's main event, we talked about it at the top of the show, but the easiest way to expand your POD business. Now, back in episode 172, we talked about the print-on-demand success journey. And in that episode, if you haven't listened to it, go back in the archives, take a listen to that, and then you can come back to this one or listen to this one and then go back. It doesn't matter the order. It is reverse compatible, so you're going to be okay either way. But in that episode, we outlined 4 stages of where you might be in your business, as well as ways to move on to that next stage, right? So the first one, Travis, is the rookie, or the second stage.
The second one,
rookie.
sure.
Yep. So talk about a little bit, like, for people who maybe haven't heard episode 172.
Yeah.
Define that like rookie bracket. What does that look like if you were to be in that?
Sure. So maybe you can relate to this if you are in this or you have these characteristics. You have between 10 and 100 live print on demand listings, but you're frustrated because it's just not going well. It's just really slow. You're not seeing a lot of sales. Really, you're really feeling the pressure to create more listings because obviously the more you're hoping, at least the more print on demand products and listings you have out there, the more sales you're going to get. That may or may not be true depending on how you're going about it, but you are feeling that pressure. You're probably only selling on one print on demand channel. It's typically either it's Etsy. A lot of people start off with Etsy, or if you got a Merch by Amazon account, you're selling on Merch by Amazon. Those are 2 totally different platforms, but you're probably only selling on one, maybe 2. Maybe you have a Merch by Amazon and you're doing Etsy, but you're still not seeing that those sales come through. You've generated maybe a few of them, but you're barely breaking even. Maybe you've bought some tools, and so that's taking subscriptions to tools that are helping you, but then your few sales, or you're just breaking even, and you're still refining that process of research, design, uploading, marketing, all of those things that you need to be doing, or at least you assume you need to be doing. And it's just not paying dividends quite yet, but you're in the game. You've started, and kudos for that, but if you can relate to any of these kind of characteristics, then I think this is the right show for you. You're in the right place.
Yeah, you are in the right place. Congratulations. You did it. You're here. So moving on from there. So the question is, like, how do you get out of that stage, right? Now, if you define the stage, and it's like, that's great, but if I don't want to be a rookie forever, well, then, again, several answers to this back in episode 172. But one of the first ways, and one of the easiest ways to start expanding your business, is to start selling on new channels.
Boom.
And there's
we
a
should
lot
have
of
a sound effect there.
Oh, we should. We don't. How do we not have an explosion? It's the closest thing.
Okay, that'll work.
Reality just smacks you in the face because it's the easiest way. I don't know what's happening here.
I want a queen.
So there's a lot of different ways you can look at this, and there's a lot of different ways to expand. Primarily, we can start with online channels. And Travis, if you remember, there's obviously multiple channels to sell on online, but way back in episode 2. Oh, how long ago was that? 3 years. My God. Back in episode 2.
I was a wee lad.
It was. You were little babies. So if you go back and listen to that podcast, let me just say, we apologize for any lack of actual audio quality. We were just in a garage. I don't know what it's going to sound like, to be completely honest. We were just meeting in a shop at that point because we were just putting action to our thoughts, which is what mattered. So anyway, back then we kind of did some equating from online channels and maybe like what you might find in a shopping mall, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was really genius. And,
it is, and we refer to it all the time.
Yeah, believe it or not, episode 2 of the Print on Demand Cast is the most listened to and /downloaded episode of all of the episodes. And I think that's
really,
I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of hard to believe, but I think, as people find a podcast, they go back to the beginning and they're like, what did these guys talk about? And that one's like, which sales channel do you want to sell on, or something like that? And they're like, well, I should probably listen to that. So yeah. Anyway, that neither here nor there. But we did make this list, like you said, of these different online sales channels and kind of equated them to different stores. And so if you haven't heard that, we'll just kind of go through this really quickly, but so eBay is a place. It's an online sales channel. You can sell print on demand. I actually am selling print on demand. By the way, I should probably do an update at some point. I am above my 10,000 listings threshold. They finally, month by month, we increased it. And so we have 10,000 products on eBay right now. And I think we're paying $59.99 a month for the privilege and the honor of listing on that platform. But we equated eBay to a garage sale. And that's just because you can literally buy pretty much anything on eBay. You can, it doesn't matter if it's used or new or whatever, you just disclose it and you can sell it pretty much, as long as it's not a gun or alcohol, or I'm sure there's a couple other things that you can't sell, but you get the idea. It's kind of like the garage sale. You just don't know necessarily what you're going to find, but you probably, if you look, you could probably find some pretty interesting crap, on eBay. Yeah. So that's why we call it the garage sale of, the online marketplaces.
Yeah. The next one that we had in it was Etsy, right? Etsy is like the vintage shop, which makes sense. It's a lot of crafted goods and homemade stuff, custom work, home decor, like very vintage, the kind of shop that my wife would walk by and immediately go, I'm going to go in here for an undisclosed amount of time. And then I wouldn't see her for an hour or two. But that's the kind of shop that we equated Etsy to. The next one, Walmart, was like a store in the mall, like a Jean-Claude Penney or J.C. Penney, for those of you that don't know his full name. It's not his actual full name. Or Dillard's, Macy's.
Macy's, yep.
Because Walmart has a lot. It's not the entire mall, but it's got enough for you to go in and probably find what you need, I guess.
And I'm just thinking about this now, but like, I feel like we might need to reclassify Walmart, because in the 3+ years that we've had this podcast, their online presence has really grown a ton.
Yeah, it's true.
They're 2 or 3 stores in the mall now worth of products. I don't know. We need to revisit that. We'll talk about that offline.
Yeah. We'll revise this list and bring you a new revised list. But the next one was, it was merch by Amazon. It's now merch on demand. It was kind of like the kiosk in the mall, which I'm sure you've all seen. Those kiosks that are actually printing shirts in the middle of the mall for you.
Right.
Whatever copyright infringement image you would love, they will put it on that shirt. They might have copyright, to be fair, but I doubt it. So we've all seen those. That's kind of what's merch by Amazon. And obviously, they've expanded their offerings even since we wrote this list 3 years ago. There's lots of other things you can sell and decorate on. And so, it's more than just t-shirts at this point, but still, nonetheless, it is a smaller offering, or kind of like that kiosk where there's
it's really niched down.
But you're not going to find anything more than what they offer. It's like going to In-N-Out for like a bacon cheeseburger. It doesn't exist, and it has 3 things. It's going to be what you're going to get. Should we redo this and equate it to restaurants? I think so. So next tab was like Teespring, TeePublic, Redbubble. Are those also kiosk?
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. I think they're kind of that kiosk. I mean, the reason Walmart, has, and even Etsy has, like, they're an actual shop or a store, is because they have more than just some print on demand stuff, Right. And so like the Teespring, the TeePublic, the Redbubble, the Spreadshirt, all of these other places that, royalty based for the most part, platforms. So you're going to license your designs to them, and they're going to put them on, whatever products, and then they're going to fulfill it. They're going to sell it. They're the seller of record. You're just going to get a royalty because you license your design to them. I feel like those are all kind of like kiosks in the mall,
sure.
Because they just have so many, they only have a very specific type of product that they're offering their customers.
Yeah. And then the last one on the list was Amazon, and it's still applicable. I think the description still feels right. It is the whole mall. It's the whole, it has
the everything store.
Everything that you're going to possibly need in it. You can go to the other ones. You can go to Etsy for vintage shop stuff if you want to support, local business or whatever. But Amazon is the mall. It's the conglomerate of things. If it was a food equivalent, it is the food court that holds all of the other foods in it. But a really like high-end food court, like the one in downtown Denver. Like it's a posh food court, right? It's got everything you're going to want, but it is all encompassing.
But you know what? It also has In-N-Out and McDonald's and Burger King too. That's the thing
for sure.
They
It has
have
it all.
everything. Yeah,
It has
is.
all of it. No, I just want In-N-Out. I regret bringing up. I regret. There's one 3 minutes from my house. You want to come over and hang out and we'll go grab a burger? I mean, it's right here.
Yeah, but your house is 30 minutes away. Remember, you moved.
I did. So it's 33 minutes away from you. No, it's still 30. Actually, it's technically closer to the highway than I am. But anyway, so okay, the next way you can expand your business in the online sphere would also be influencers, and we talk about this frequently, and it's something that I have a lot of experience in because it's essentially the business model that I built What For Apparel on when we launched, and that's working with influencers. Now there's a couple ways you can do it. Obviously, we've talked about the influencer marketing where you send an influencer that is maybe in the niche that you're selling, that your content's related to, right? If you're if you're an In-N-Out enthusiast and you're for whatever reason doing, In-N-Out themed novelty, I don't know, whatever, but you send it to someone in that sphere that's really influential, has a big following, and ask them to, support or, wear a shirt in one of their videos or whatever. That's one way you can do it. You will have to pay them probably a referral fee or something because they're going to want a cut of whatever traffic they send you. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it was what I did, which is reach out to influencers directly and produce the merch for them to sell to their audience. Right. And so you can figure out a percentage-based deal or a flat rate deal or whatever it looks like, depending on where you're selling, what your margins look like. It's going to be different dependent on what platform you're on. But that's where the lion's share of success that I had with What For Apparel came from, in that type of influencer marketing. I targeted, because I'm a professional wrestling fan, I know that professional wrestling fans love merch, and I know professional wrestlers need merch to sell to the fans that love the merch. So I worked with a guy, his name is Chris Bay, and he is an independent wrestler who's been on a part of a couple of big companies, but he reached out to us, and actually I was working with What For Apparel, and then that translated over to when I was with Make Your Mark Design, and fulfilling his orders. And he would order in bulk. He didn't have an online store, but he would order 50 to 100 shirts at a time to take with him to these different shows that he was going to. A TikTok influencer, was another guy I worked with. His name was Nike Finesse. He opened a store and sold a crap ton of merch that I produced for him. So I'm producing it. I'm not doing any of the marketing. He's marketing to his people. I'm just fulfilling what comes in and giving him his cut or percentage or whatever, again, depending on what you figure out, depending on the platform. But it's a way that you can grow your business without really, all you have to do is sell yourself to the influencer. And then the influencer sells the product to the mass market, which he or she already has a relationship with. So that's the beauty of influencer marketing. Now, the downside of influencer marketing is it is a little bit of a coin toss. Not all influencers are created equal. And I've shared this before in past podcasts, but not all influencers are marketers. I'll just say that. It's not a guarantee. The fact that they're influencers isn't indicative of them being a marketer. They could have become viral or gotten a lot of followers because of the content they're producing, and they didn't even think about the marketing piece. And so there is a hit and miss. And if you guys want more information, I'd be happy to dive deeper into this, what to look for, how to look for. I think we have an episode on it in the archives, but it's something that I'm willing to chat more about. If you're interested about how to do this and how to get it started, I'd love to start a conversation with you guys. And so if you're interested, but just know that just because I have a big following, like I thought when I landed my first podcast account, I thought it was it. The ship was coming in, and it did not. The ship sank, and then I had to go find more influencers. But yeah, you can do and you can also do fulfillment for podcasters, other sellers. Even I know we have friends, Travis, that have had luck in like local restaurants, right?
Yeah. So we have an episode, Influencer Marketing 201. That's
yes,
it's episode 160 if you want to check that out. That kind of dives a little bit more into what Josiah was saying. It's also the best famous John episode that you may want to fast forward through if you don't give a crap.
But it's entertaining, and you'll know. You'll have your pick.
It's kind of entertaining. No, but yeah. So, yeah, like local places like restaurants, need these types of, they need products. We've fulfilled for several different restaurants in our area. But of course, restaurants, they don't necessarily have an online presence, although you can, and we've talked about this a little bit. You could, if you have like a merch by Amazon Amazon merch on demand account, you can create a private page and then get like a QR code that goes to that page for that specific t-shirt or, product that they want to sell. And then do like a Taco Tuesday and every time someone wears or T-shirt Tuesday and they wear the t-shirt, taco t-shirt, t-shirt.
Whoa.
Okay. You get, that's way too much alliteration for me.
Are you okay?
A stroke? I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm just thinking of tacos. I'm excited about tacos, man. You got In-N-Out, you got tacos. Anyway, you do a T-shirt Tuesday and whoever comes in gets tacos for 20% off or 30% off or whatever. And you make that agreement with the restaurant, and then you get a cut. Maybe they get a cut when anybody buys it, and then they get free advertising. And it's a win-win. Yep. So it's a win-win-win.
I want to win.
Exactly. So that's one way you can do that with, online, even though it's still local. But that does lead us to kind of the other way that you can expand your POD business, not online, but literally selling offline, There's local businesses out there that don't know what they don't know when it comes to merch, now I did this when I had Make Your Mark had a location, for, we had one in Longmont, then we had one in Broomfield, and I created a Google listing for Make Your Mark Design in Broomfield. And so I started getting people calling us and, asking us to do merch. You don't have to have a physical location to do that. You could plant your Google flag at your house in whatever locale you are, put a phone number. Hopefully it's a business line. Maybe you could even, get a Google phone line. So it rings especially on your phone. You could just still use your cell phone. Put some pictures up of some things that you've done as people start calling you. It's literally as easy as that. When you plant I didn't understand this, but when I planted my Google flag and claimed my location, I made a lot of money because of that. And it's all free. That's the cool thing. They can message you. They can do all kinds of things. They can call you, email you, all of those things. And it's all free. You just go on Google and claim your location as a business. You will make sales.
Yeah.
Or at least the phone will ring. It's up to you to make the sales.
Yeah, exactly. It'll at least, it casts the net for you. You just have to bring the fish in the boat. Essentially. So the other thing you can do is, Rotary Club, Chamber of Commerce, business roundtables, those kinds of groups that are in your local area. Because Travis and I we will beat this drum all day. Networking is huge. It's massive. Again, we've got a lot of episodes on networking as well, and the importance of networking. Travis and I
couple episodes ago,
not that long ago. Travis and I just got back from a trade show in Orlando and networking, and I'm excited to see what comes from that as well. So you just never know. Networking is huge, and the thing about those groups is most of the time they will only allow maybe one or two of some sort, like a business roundtable group, for example. I don't know that the Chamber of Commerce is necessarily as
like that, but
curated in terms of membership. But some of the places, my sister is a part of a business roundtable where she lives in Alabama, and they only allow one or two of each kind of trade or profession. So they have a couple electricians and they have a couple, contractors and one insurance guy. And the benefit of being a part of that is that you start to refer people to one another because they're going to be interacting with customers. Heck, they themselves might need t-shirts and merch for their business. So that's like a treasure trove in and of itself.
Right.
And then they will recommend you if they know someone that needs something and with people they're talking to, and you return the favor. So that networking can be massive. It's episode 179. 2 episodes ago, we talked about the importance of networking. It's massive. So look into that. Even if it's not, a limited entry type thing, any kind of networking in general, just getting out there, shaking hands, getting to know people, getting into the community, massive.
Yeah. Have a business card on you. I mean, I had a lot of, and still do have a lot of connections with different businesses that found us because there's one guy that works for a company that goes to my church. And he found out that I was doing, print on demand, or I was doing printing, and we did a ton of business with him. And then there was another company that one of my employees, her husband, was in charge of getting merch for their business. And so I would never have known that had she actually brought the business in. But so you never know who knows who and how that can benefit you and your business. Because remember, don't let imposter syndrome sink in. You're not an imposter. You know something about this business. You know something about print that most people don't. I know it seems commonplace to you, but you know more than 99% of the people on the planet about printing. Believe it or not, that's true. So you actually can serve those people, even if you are in a drop ship model. It's possible. You can figure that out. You might not make as great a margins as if you were actually making the stuff all your own, but there's still some business. There's still some meat on the bone. And why not just have some cards? They cost hardly anything, and just have them.
Right.
You never know when you have the ability to get some business. So all that to just continue to beat the drum that networking is super important to any business. And just because you're online doesn't mean it's not important to yours.
Correct. Absolutely. The last one here, locally speaking, or offline rather, ways to expand is like local craft fairs, farmers markets, etc. This is something, again, Make Your Mark Design has done in the past. I did a couple. I did one with you, one with Tate. And obviously you take product to make sales there. And I can tell you that, we kind of had, I guess, a little shtick to the booth, right? Like people could pick a hat, they could pick the leather patch, and then right then and there we'd sublimate it for them, and it's a hat on demand type thing, and people just enjoy the experience of being a part of that creation process, which is a cool way to draw them into the table. But you're selling other stuff as well, right? So you're obviously making sales. However, again,
making
you can look
connections
at it
too
as another form of networking. You're making connections. You don't know, someone could walk up to the table and say, "Hey, you guys do hats? Awesome. I run a local rec hockey league or pee-wee football or whatever." And the next thing you know, right, you're doing 350 hats, you're doing jerseys, you're doing apparel, you're doing swag for an entire team of athletes because you happen just to set up a booth on a street corner at a farmer's market, and then you made that connection.
Exactly. Yeah, that is a real life example. We did provide hats for an entire hockey league, and it was really cool. It was a big sale, paid for the entire season of what we paid to be involved in that marketplace. Now, it didn't pay necessarily for the time that we spent setting up and tearing down and all that, but it definitely,
the entry fee.
Yes. And then, but we had so many of things like that, maybe not 350 every single time, but we would have 10, 20, 30 products that we would do after the fact because we were there and we were handing out our cards and people were contacting us because we were a legit business, and that's how it works.
Yeah. And some of that fruit, as far as like the seeds planted in that networking phase or that connections phase, you might get sales 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line, a year later. But you've established that connection, you've established that relationship, and you nurture it and touch base. You know what I mean? Like nurture that, water that. Eventually that fruit's going to come because they're going to need it. So it might not be, you might not pay dividends immediately, but that the payoff will be down the line. It's maybe not immediate, but it'll be there.
Exactly.
So like,
I was just going to,
go ahead. No, you go one more
well,
time.
I was just going to say, so like we talked a lot about, kind of the local aspect. And so there's a lot of you are like, I have no time to, beat doors down and knock on doors and all that stuff. I will again just say, get some business cards at least, and,
Yep.
and just have them available, because that can come up anytime. But I do feel like we said, hey, this is the easiest way to expand your print on demand business. And I want to make sure that that point, or that, promise has been made. And I think we could go all the way back to, because most of our listeners you're selling online right now. You're selling on Etsy. You're maybe selling on Merch by Amazon, whatever you're selling on, you're doing some of that online. And the real easiest way to expand your print on demand business is to move to another channel. If you're selling on Etsy, why not start on Walmart? Why not start on Amazon? I know there's things that you have to do in order to get to those places, but at least understand what they are and make the business decision of whether or not that's worth it. And maybe if you're in that, you only have 100 listings, well, you would have 200 listings if you were on Walmart.
Right.
You would have 300 listings if you were on Walmart and Amazon. Do you get the idea here? So that is the literal easiest way to expand your business. Now there's, like we've said, there's a lot of other things, and maybe we'll talk about some of those things on future episodes. You can probably find, in our past episodes as well. But I wanted to deliver on the promise that this is the easiest way to expand your print on demand business. Now, you can continue to make more products and put them on the same channel you're already selling.
Yeah.
But the problem with that, first of all, it's not bad. That's a good thing. You should be doing that. But one of the problems with that is that the same types of people are seeing your listings. If you go from Etsy to Amazon, that's a different type of buyer. If you go from Amazon to Walmart, again, that's a different type of buyer. And so you're putting these products out there that you've already invested the time and effort to create, all the mock-ups, all the descriptions, all the art files, all of that stuff. You're putting them in front of more and more people. And so that, I just wanted to say that before we kind of ramp down, because it really, really is the easiest way to expand your print on demand business, at least in my mind.
Yeah. And I can't believe that I'm going to be the one to say this, but if you listen to past episodes, you will know that if you start building an organization structure at the beginning, when you're on your first platform and you do spreadsheets and you have all that information organized, then transferring everything, all your listings to a new platform is going to be super easy. You've already done the work in the design process and getting things set up. The lion's share is done. So you can triple the amount of listings you have with a couple clicks of a button, or adjusting a couple, data fields, but it's not going to be arduous because you've already done the lion's share of the work. So that's why it really is the easiest way. Last week, we talked a lot about maximizing your assets. Well, you already have 100 designs because you've listed them on platform A. Put those same 100 designs on platform B. They're not there right now. So instantly double your listing number, maximize your assets off is basically what I'm telling you to do. And that's the easiest way to,
well said.
Yeah. Thank you. And I was surprised you didn't go into the spreadsheet thing, because that's your thing, but I beat you to it.
You did. Yep, you did. You stole my thunder. I think in the end, there are plenty of ways to expand. You can you could definitely expand to other sales channels online. You could go the influencer route, or you could start, beating the pavement and literally getting yourself out there. See if there's a chamber of commerce or a Rotary Club or whatever, those types of things, and spend more time networking. So there's plenty of ways to expand. And you know what, if you just want to drop ship your print on demand and you don't ever want to talk to anyone, that's totally fine. But at least decide what the next channel is that you're going to get onto, because that should be on your roadmap. One way or the other. Maybe it's not right now. Maybe it's, when you have 500 listings or, 1,000 listings or whatever, or it's not this month because of XYZ in your personal life that's happening. And maybe it's 3 months from now or whatever. Just have that plan and challenge yourself to actually expand. And you'll be glad you did. It might be hard, might be challenging, but hey, we're here for you. We're here to help you out as you move into that stuff. So, just make a plan and follow through with the easiest way to expand your print on demand business.
Yep. Absolutely. So that will wrap it up for this week's main event. Thank you guys so much for sticking in there and listening to another episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Hopefully this was helpful for you. And again, if you haven't already, printondemandcast.com/VIP is where you can go to sign up for our weekly newsletter. It's a great way to stay in the loop, even when, information that's not on the show or tips and tricks not on the show, it'll be in the newsletter, and you can respond and communicate with us that way. But we'd be super thankful to have you a part of that as well. So you can just be a part of the totality of the Print on Demand Cast family on all the platforms, including printondemandcast.com/VIP. So Travis, anything else before we officially send this one home?
I think that's going to be it. I would love for you guys to sign up for the VIP email list. You get the annual design calendar, which kind of helps you figure out what you should be designing for at what time of year. That's, our gift to you. If basically it's a trade for your email. And then, you can check out our weekly newsletter that, like you said, goes into more stuff about the podcast, but then if we have special announcements, if we have other things, something else comes up, we're definitely going to let you know there as well.
All right. Well, thank you guys again for listening. And so until next time, for Travis, I'm Josiah. We'll see you right here on the Print on Demand Cast.
See ya.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.